Delegate Smigiel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the HQL, can anyone take possession on October 1st of a handgun for personal self-defense in the home?
So if I understand, if I'm in my
As of
home,
October 1st,
right,
will any citizen in Maryland be able to go out and take possession of a handgun for personal protection in the home?
so if I understand, I'm trying to make sure I understand right. You're saying if I'm in my house, can I pick up the gun and use it? Yes.
No. Will you be able to go to the store and buy a firearm, a handgun,
A handgun.
on October 1st because of this new HQL requirement? Will citizens in Maryland be able to go out to the store October 1, purchase a handgun, and then have that ready for protection in the home, for personal protection?
If they have an HQL, yes.
They're not going to have an HQL on October 1st, are they?
That's a good point. Probably, no, sir, you're right. I see what you're saying. The application process begins October 1st. Now I understand. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
The process begins October 1st. We have 30 days to turn around the application.
Okay.
So the answer to your question is October 1st. Unless you're exempt from the HQL, you will probably not be able to buy a gun on October 1st.
Okay, and so...
Or order one, I should say.
And would you be able to borrow a firearm from your relative, your mother, father, says, okay, we're going to let you keep this firearm in your home for your protection on October 1st? Would you be able to do that for personal protection with this HQL system taking 30 days to take effect?
Well, you're talking about temporary transfer, correct? Let's say you loan it to your brother. You still retain ownership of the firearm, correct?
You're saying that Maryland will allow that?
Under the child decision, if I'm not mistaken, a temporary transfer was allowed to take place.
So I can have a firearm then in my home that I don't own, and I can have possession of it to protect myself after October 1st.
Yes, based on that decision.
Is that your understanding, sir?
Yes, Delegate. The Court of Appeals in the Chow case said that non-permanent transfers without compensation, lending somebody a gun, does not constitute a transfer for purposes of Maryland's regulated firearms law.
Okay, so I don't have a father or somebody else who has a firearm, but I want to protect myself on October 1st. Can I go out and lease a firearm or have some other way to protect myself with a handgun on October 1st under this new system?
Delegate, a lease would count as a transfer.
So you need the HQL for
I need the HQL. So the answer is no. Under the new system with the HQL, as of October 1, I will not be able to go out and purchase or lease a firearm, to a handgun, to bring into my home for personal protection, correct?
Correct, unless you're exempt.
Thank you.
You're
The next question I have, sir, goes to, last year, do you know how many people applied for the permits to carry last year for the good and substantial reason?
No, sir, I don't, no. I know for committee, I
we
know
had
we
about-
provided copies to the committee years ago on what we were
Remember
doing.
about 2012, I think we had about 2,500 permits to carry. Is that about correct, sir?
I don't know, sir. It could be accurate, I don't know. I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Do we have any information about how many have been granted? How many of those requests for permits to carry in this year have been granted?
I don't have it with me, but I can get it for you.
The last that I heard, it was approximately 90% was the percentile were being granted. Is that a fair estimate of what the current granting of permits to carry for applications would be?
I don't know, sir. I don't know the answer.
Okay. The proposed regulations for the HQL say the applicant must fire a round of live fire ammunition safely. Can you comment on the document produced and signed and distributed by Sergeant Kozlowski dated September 16th? Are you familiar with that document?
I am not, sir.
Okay, well, where he indicates the applicant must fire a round to hit a target and that this action must take place at a distance of no greater than 15 yards. Are you familiar with that?
I am not, sir. As a matter of fact, in the regs, we took out any reference to having to hit a target.
Okay, can you show me anywhere in SB 281, the bill that was passed by the policymakers, the legislature, this body here, where it says that there will be a live fire component within the HQL requirements?
Well, I can tell you, it talks about orientation, demonstrating, oh, thank you. Yeah, it says a firearms orientation component that demonstrates the person's safe operation and handling of a firearm.
Okay, are you aware that there is no other state in the United States of America that requires, or that will be the only state that will require, in order to for every citizen to just have the right to exercise the right of keeping and bearing arms, that they have a live fire component?
I didn't know that, sir. No, sir.
The only other state, Connecticut, that requires everybody, if you pass that, gives you the right automatically to have a permit to carry. Is that Maryland's intent also? That once you pass the live fire component of shooting the round,
Yes, sir.
then you automatically get your permit to carry. Is that the intent under these regulations?
Well, you said permit to carry. We were talking about the handgun qualification.
Yes, sir.
license. Two separate issues.
No, what I'm pointing to you is no other state in the union says you have to have a live fire component in order to get the right to purchase a handgun.
Correct.
Maryland's now going to say, it'd be the first state to say, you have to fire a firearm. The only other state that says that, Connecticut, says if you fire it, you also get the right now to carry a firearm, concealed carry, because you have gone through this component of firing the firearm. Is Maryland going to make that also a part of, that you will automatically get a concealed carry permit if you fire the live fire component?
No, sir. Because you have to have a good substantial reason here in Maryland to have
Okay.
a handgun permit.
Are you aware that the legislature specifically debated ad nauseum the question of whether or not there would be a live fire component, and decided that we would not have a live fire component within these regulations?
I would disagree with that. I would disagree. I agree that they debated it ad nauseum. Trust me, I think you were here till 4 a.m. in the morning, if not longer. So the ad nauseum part, I agree with. I would say that it is based on our interpretation, and just so you know, we contacted the AGs, we contacted committee staff, we contacted the governor's office, and we said, our understanding is you got to shoot the gun. And we were informed by all who were contacted that yes, you must discharge the firearm as part of the safe firearms orientation component.
Did you look at any other states for your, because here I'm a bit confused. All of a sudden now, we have this regulations for how you're going to do the testing, and that hasn't come through our committee. We didn't set that up. I have a permit to teach. I'm an NRA instructor. I didn't see anything come through and say, here's what you need to be able to teach. Where did you get the basic parameters of what the state police are now saying is going to consist of the teaching, the test that you're going to have to take? Where did that come from?
Well, there's, what test are you referring to? I know that you're
Whatever you
talking
need.
about the single discharge, but there's no written test on the handgun qualification license or the handgun permit. What we did was we consulted with, okay, you were doing something, I wanted to make sure.
I was telling you, please.
Okay. We did review the NRA basic, they provided to us a 4-hour course, which they described had a discharge of a firearm and also contained home safety, as well as some other components that were in SB 281. We took some of the, for the basic course that we developed, this morning it was reviewed and a sample was approved. Now, whether or not it's up on the site yet today, it should go up for the handgun qualification license, but we did pull from the National Rifle Association's course, as well as added some from the Maryland Police Training Commission, provided us some information for the course, for a sample basic course.
So they're just going up today, the basic course requirements, they're being put up?
They should be up today, yes, sir.
Will the complete course, because the list of people who are qualified to teach the course that's going up today has been up for some time.
There is a course that they have, there have been several instructors who've called us and said, hey, we've got a course that meets this, and if that's the case, I don't know how many licensing division has approved, I don't know.
They called you and said, we have a course that meets this, but hasn't gone up till today. What were they calling to meet?
What they were doing was telling us they had developed their own curriculum. They had developed their own course, which met the 4 requirements. As a matter of fact, there's a website for a guy out of Southern Maryland who claimed he had the first certified course, which was not necessarily true.
Did anybody call and say, when they called up to say this, that, oh yes, we're going to meet a live fire requirement?
I don't know the exact discussion, sir. No, sir. I just know that several have, licensing division told me they've gotten several calls on it.
Okay, I'll move on. How will MSP verify the applicants have passed their training course? We have instructors notify you that I had these 10 people. Yesterday, I took the Utah course. We had 25 people in the class. At the end of the day, they take all our fingerprints, they put all the information together, and they're going to send it off to Utah, and the instructor has to tell them that the 25 of us passed that course. How's it going to work in Maryland?
The way we expect it to work is we're asking that the firearms qualified handgun instructors log on and open up an account with the Maryland State Police Licensing Division website. The applicant will provide us, when they fill out the form to apply for the HQL, there's a section there that says, who is your instructor? Are you exempt from the training? If you're not exempt, did you take a course? If you took a course, who was the instructor, and whatever the instructor's account number is. The way the system is to be set up is the instructor will then be sent an email to confirm that, for example, Tom Williams was in the course and took course 1 through 3, whatever the course was. We've also, we were asked what happens if you have the beer truck theory. The instructor walks out, he gets hit by a truck, where is the verification? So we had also required that the instructor give a piece of paper to the student for any reason if the instructor goes out of business, something occurs, or maybe one of these individuals isn't so safe and shoots the instructor.
Is there a standard certificate or piece of paper that's going to be consistent across all those who are offering courses that have been qualified?
Licensing Division did develop a form. I was told it was going to be up on the website for the instructors to provide.
Okay. What an objective analysis did the state perform to determine that the live fire requirement was conclusively increase public safety? What did you do to go out and find out, we got to have this because it's going to increase public safety?
We did not.
Okay. What are the regulations that apply to the HQL instructor's license that are currently going to be there that we haven't discussed? What regulations apply? Because, again, that's something I thought would come through AELR, and they'd say, here's the regulations that are going to apply to the HQL. That's the ones that the course that you've put up right now, that's already up there and telling people you got to take this. Where are the regulations, and how did they ever get approved that say this course that's up there that people are already signed up and said they're qualified to teach? Where and how were those regulations promulgated?
Okay, I'm just trying to understand the...
Well, we have a course.
That's correct.
We've said this course is now up on the state police website. We got people who said, I'm qualified to teach this course. Where and how did the regulations of what that course is going to consist of, and how that course is going to be taught, and who's going to be qualified, where did they come from? Because members of this committee haven't seen them.
Well, who's going to be qualified is in the statute. Qualified handgun instructors, and they're defined by statute.
Okay.
Nationally recognized organization, certified by the Maryland State Police or the Maryland Police Training Commission.
Okay, currently, with the definition that you're taking, sir, I apologize. Well, currently with the definition you're taking, that anybody who has an NRA license, somebody who gets an NRA license, and all they're going to do is learn how to reload a shotgun shell. Never know nothing about a firearm except my job is I'm going to learn how to reload that shotgun shell. They're now qualified under the interpretation you're given, because you didn't bring it through this committee, to go out there and teach people how to live fire, and they may never have live fired themselves, but simply have an NRA certificate that says you now know how to change a shotgun shell and reload your own so you can go out bird shooting. But they're going to teach people, because of the way this regulation is being implemented without going through us, they're going to allow people to go out and teach them to live fire now.
The regulation is a quote directly from the statute. The statute says what the course is required to be. Now, of course, the live fire component is, we believe, accurate, but the statute says, as well as the regulation quotes directly from it, who is a qualified handgun instructor and who's qualified to provide the instruction. And it says, certification from a nationally recognized firearms organization.
Okay.
If the NRA has 32 different firearms certifications, or 5 or 8 or 9, I don't know. That's not what the statute says. So
Isn't that what you, as the agency, and the state police do, is interpret that statute so that when you bring the regulations to us, they're not under-inclusive or overly broad, just as you, I believe, overly broad said there will be a live fire component. Can you show me anywhere in there the words live fire component appear in 281?
live fire component does not, that phrase does not appear anywhere in this.
But you're interpreting, not based on the exact language, to say, well, we'll put it in there, correct?
I would say that, yes, it's our interpretation, along with that of committee staff, that we interpreted it correctly. We didn't just do it in a vacuum. We reached out, we contacted folks,
Did you reach out to anybody who was either on Judiciary Committee or on judicial proceedings, or on the HGO Committee, or the committees that handled this and said, because I remember having extensive arguments, I remember completely saying, we will not put in a live fire component because it will become a proficiency component. And we don't want to have a efficiency component because we're talking about a fundamental right. And so what I'm asking is, other than reach to the administration and the people who wanted this originally to be in there, but it's not there, did you reach out to anybody else, the NRA, any of the organizations that are here, the thousands of people who are represented by the organizations that are here today, to say, what do you think of this?
We didn't reach out to them, but they were kind enough to send us their opinion, and they did not believe the live fire component belonged in here, which is why we reached out to the Attorney General's office, which is why we reached out to committee staff, and to make sure we had the discussion and the debate correctly, and it confirmed that, yes, there was supposed to be a live fire component. That's how we did it. And no, we did not call individual members of the committee, sir.
Just one last question, I think I'm done.
Only one, sir.
Okay, I'll get two if that helps you. Again, I asked you, did you do anything that gives an independent analysis to show how a live fire component helps public safety? Is there any at all analysis you did to say, here's how it's going to help?
No, sir, we did not.
If you were basing it on demonstrable facts in the record, why did you bother to go and ask the other people in the administration what they thought should be the policy with regards to live fire? You only went to one side.
I'm sorry, I can answer that if you like. We reached out, as I said, to the House Committee staff as well as the administration. I mean, I know you keep saying administration, but we reached out to committee staff, the AG's office, as well as the administration. We didn't just focus on the administration, and that's what we did.
All right, you can help me out. Just show me anywhere in any of the record, at all, that you looked at where it says there'll be a live fire component. Show me that word.
Doesn't need to say that. There was no, you're saying there was no explicit prohibition.
Oh, okay.
That's what we need
We
here.
can do what we want. Okay, I understand now.
Thank you.
And the last one, on Delegate DeMay's question with regards to, Delegate DeMay had asked about the, what did you ask about? The 5 training sessions. Did anybody at any of those training sessions ever point out that there is absolutely nowhere in this country that what Maryland was going to do exists, that we're going to be the first? Did anybody ever bring that up to those people saying, yeah, maybe we go make them go out there and shoot?
I don't know if they brought that specific phrase out, but there were several that said, we don't believe you got to shoot.
Did anybody give one specific reason how this would help public safety and show, here's a study that was done, because apparently the other 49 states haven't ever figured out that it was necessary, that showed some reason you can articulate that this increases public safety by requiring this?
As I said, sir, I have no studies.
Thank you. Does the state compile a list of the public firing ranges that are available to use for compliance with the regulations that are being promulgated?
No, sir.
Do you have any idea whether or not there are any public ranges available?
No, sir.
The proposed HQL application process requires the applicant provide their Social Security number. Now, the requirement appears to violate Section 7 of the Privacy Act of 1974, which states, Section 7A1, and I'm going to quote, "It shall be unlawful for any federal, state, or local government agency to deny to any individual any right, benefit, or privilege provided by the law because of such individual's refusal to disclose his Social Security account number. Is the Social Security number required to obtain an HQL?"
No, sir.
No? Is the answer no?
Yes, sir. Yes or no? Sir.
Okay. Currently,
No, you don't need a Social Security number.
well, currently, in order to, when you purchase a firearm and you get your 77R, it says you have to fill out that Social Security number because while it doesn't say it's mandated, and then go to comply with the Privacy Act, it says if you skip any portion of the 77R, that it's going to be returned to you. So it's implicit that it is required. Is that correct? Under the 77R, if you don't fill out your Social Security number, do you reject that 77R application?
Okay. According to licensing division, they have never denied a 77R for not having a Social Security number.
Have they ever sent back the information to an individual because they didn't supply the Social Security number, saying it was not completed fully?
I don't believe so.
Is that a no?
I'd say, no, I'm not aware of
Mr.
it.
Bowen, do you concur?
Delegate, I'm not aware of the answer to the question.
I'm sorry?
I don't know the answer to the question.
Okay.
We certainly
If a-
find out.
And you're saying that under the HQL, it will be no requirement for a Social Security number, correct?
Correct.
And as far as you know right now, there is no requirement that you have to give a Social Security number on a 77R, and they will not be returned. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you.